Hello, this is our fourth UCAS session, and this one is one of the more important ones, which is filling in the UCAS application. Now, the filling in of the application is actually very easy. It just takes a little bit of time, but I'm going to go through each part of the form with you and just clear up any of the common misconceptions that I get asked about quite a lot, and some of the things that maybe you've come across and just might not be sure of. So, registration is free. Okay, so it is completely free to register with UCAS. Sending the application costs £25, but you don't pay that until you are completed and ready to send it. But the actual registration is free. So you need to go to ucas.com/apply and register. Now, I did an assembly last week which explained how to do that. The sections that you will be completing will be the personal details, a very short section on additional information, a very short section on student finance, because student finance is a separate application which is done from February through the student finance website. Really, with this application, you're just saying that you will be using student finance. You've got your choices, which is always one of the most difficult parts because you've got to make those decisions. You've got the very large education section to fill in, a very short employment section, and then, of course, the personal statement. The final section is the reference, which is done by your tutor or by myself. So when you go onto the Apply website, you need to click on Register, okay, and you need to register and apply for 2021 entry. Now, there will be a button to allow you to apply for 2020 entry, but that is for students in year 13 currently who are applying late. You don't want that one. Register and apply for 2021 entry, okay? So on that login screen, click the register. Make sure you remember your password and make sure you remember the email address that you've used as well. Okay, we've had several cases where people have forgotten their password, and when they try and reset it, they can't get access to whatever email address they used. That is not something I would be able to help you with. That would be a call to UCAS. So make sure you use an email address that you will use quite a lot. Okay, they will send you a confirmation email. Keep that confirmation email safe. You'll also have to verify your email as well, and it's worth getting that done straight away. On the registration screen, click Link to Center, and you need the buzzword, which is rainbow. Okay, so our buzzword is rainbow, written exactly as I have written it there, all in lowercase, and that will link you to NUAST. That means once you're linked to NUAS, it means your tutors will be able to see your applications. It also means I'll be able to see your applications and we'll be able to fill in your reference. So you must do that. So the first section is personal details. This is relatively easy. So you've got your title, your gender, your names. You have to put your legal surname, unfortunately. If you have a preferred surname, it has to be the one that will go on your exam certificates, but you can give a preferred first name. So if your legal first name is one thing, but actually you generally go by another first name, you can put a preferred first name. Obviously, you've got your address details and your nationality, which is important. At the bottom, you've got reference numbers. So every student has a unique learner number. If you don't know it, you can leave that blank. It's not massively important. It's one of those things that helps UCAS a little bit, but doesn't really make much difference. So don't worry about that part. So one of the key things that students often get wrong, and I have to send them back with at the end of the form, is the student support section. So for the vast majority of you, the fee code will be 202, okay, which means student finance. That will be the case for the vast majority of you. The one below that, for student support arrangements, that needs to be based on where you live. So if you live in the city, it will be Nottingham. If you live in the county, it will be Nottinghamshire. If you live in Derby, then it will be Derbyshire, etc. So the fee code is 02. The student support arrangements, it's a drop-down box, and you just select the city or county you live in. If you are not a UK citizen, or you have not lived here for at least 3 years, or you don't have settled status, then the fee code aspect might be a little bit more complicated, and I'd urge you to email me if you think any of that applies to you. If you are a UK citizen, it will be 02. If you're not, and maybe you haven't been here for that long, or you don't have settled status, just get in touch with me, and we'll try and figure out what it will be. Then you've got the additional information section, which is really short, and for a lot of people, you hardly fill anything in at all. So any summer schools you've done, and I'm really sorry because you're unlikely to have been able to do any because of the COVID situation. But other university programs can go in there. So things like Ambition Nottingham, for instance, or the Ambition Nottingham masterclasses, or HE Plus, or anything that you've done over the past year or previous years that are in preparation for higher education can go in there. So what I would normally recommend students to do is, in the sponsor part, just put the university and the title of the scheme. So you on Ambition Nottingham, for instance. Near the bottom, you've got just a section about some of the personal things. They're looking at parental education. So have your parents been to university? Because that gives you eligibility for numerous schemes at some of the universities. So some of the universities will give specific bursaries or better offers to people who are the first in their family to go to university. I know if that doesn't apply to you, that doesn't seem fair, but that is how it is. They'll ask your occupational background, so that is basically what do your parents do. Further down the form, there will be a section called nominated access. Now, you can put the name of a person into there, and that person will then have your permission to talk to UCAS on your behalf. So it's usually one of your parents. So you can nominate somebody, and then if they phone up UCAS to ask a question about your form, UCAS can talk to them about your form. So for instance, if I ring up UCAS on your behalf to ask a question because you're having some problems, the UCAS are very limited in what they can tell me, which is why I'd normally have to have you with me so that I could pass the phone over to you. But with nominated access, the person that you nominate can talk to UCAS on your behalf. So that would usually be one of your parents or somebody in your family if you want to. It's about 50-50 between people who just put nothing for that and people who put one of their parents. That is completely your choice. The student finance bit is really, really easy. Will you be applying for student finance? Yes, unless your family is intending to pay for your university tuition wholly themselves. It does happen, but by and large, almost all of you, if not all of you, will simply be answering yes to these questions. You will want to share your details with the student loans company so they can get in touch with you, and it's a good idea to tell UCAS to send you a reminder about student finance, because that just reminds you when you need to apply and when it's open. Right, so your university choices is the next section. You have 5 choices that you can make, and on the form you can search for the course and the uni, and that's actually really, really easy. UCAS make that easy for you. So even if you can't remember the number of the course, so you can see examples here. Aston University Chemical Engineering is course H803. If you go onto the choices section, type in Aston University, it will then give you an alphabetical a list of the alphabet, and you'll be able to click on C for chemical engineering, and then all the C courses at Aston University will come up, and on a drop down, and be able to find chemical engineering and the one you want. The only thing you might need to do is, in some cases, when the drop down box comes up, there might be 2 or 3 different chemical engineering courses of different lengths, and sometimes you might need to just double check which one it is that you want to apply for, and do be careful to make sure that you've chosen the right version of the course that you want to do. But it is actually very, very easy. Okay, it will come up with what campus you want to go to, but once you've selected your course, that will normally narrow it down to just one. Deferred entry is if you are applying for university now, but you don't actually want to go until the following year. So a deferred entry, you would be saying, I'm applying for university in 2021, but I don't actually want to start my course until 2022. So people do that so that they've got a university place, but then they can go travelling for a year, for instance. Okay, so the vast majority of you will put simply no to that, and that is the default. But you can do a deferred entry application if you want to. Universities often don't mind that, particularly if you're a good candidate, because it means they've got a candidate in the bag for the following year. So that is an option to consider. But as I say, the campus code is an easy part. For Oxbridge or Durham, though, that is where you might choose your college. Okay. Now, one thing people often ask me is, how do I choose my order of preference? And the answer is you can't. There is no preference order. So please don't worry about trying to get your choices into a certain order. You can't. Okay, you can't. I think it actually organises them in alphabetical order. There is no order of preference, so it doesn't matter which one is at the top and which one is at the bottom of your 5 choices. They are all equal choices, and the universities you apply to cannot see where else you've applied. Now, if you are if you are a very strong student, you're sort of AAA or A-star student, and you're applying before October, then your universities have a very good idea that you've probably applied to Oxford or Cambridge alongside them. And actually, it's a good idea, even if you're not applying to those, if you're a strong student, it's a good idea to apply early and make them think you have, because sometimes you get better offers that they're hoping that you'll choose them instead of Oxbridge if you don't, or hoping that you don't get into Oxbridge. So, but generally speaking, your universities have no idea where else you've applied to. They have no idea which your favourite is, so it really does not matter what order you put them into. Okay. Now, some people often ask me about taking 2 courses at the same time. I will do a presentation on courses after half term, and I'll clarify this more. You can apply to 2 different courses at the same university, okay, or rather 2 similar courses at the same university. But be careful, they may not accept you on both. It really depends on the university. So you could apply to maths at University of Nottingham, and you could apply to maths and physics at University of Nottingham. And that is absolutely fine, but they may not accept you on both, because ultimately they know you've applied to them twice, and they know that you can only take one of those places. So they want to offer places to people that at least have a chance they might take them, and they know for a fact that you won't take one of those 2 places. So what sometimes universities do is reject you on one of them and offer the other. What you're effectively doing there is putting the choice of which one you do into the university's hands. I'm not saying every university does that. Okay, it is up to them, but it is one of the risks. So you can do that, but just be aware of the risks involved in that. When I do my courses presentation, I will talk to you about applying for 2 very, very different courses, which is a lot more difficult. Right, this is the education section. Okay. So this is the bit that takes a lot of time. You need to put down all the schools that you've got qualifications from. So if you started at secondary school in one school, and then you moved in year 9 to another one, and then you've moved to Newast. The first one that you did from year 7 till 9, assuming you didn't get any qualifications from there, and I'm sure you wouldn't have done, then you don't need to put that. You just need to put the ones that you've got qualifications from. So the school you got your GCSEs from, you need to input, and it's a box, and you start typing, and then it'll search the name and narrow the name down. So you need to type that. And then you need to do your GCSEs. So you need to find your certificates or your transcript, because you need to know what the exam boards are. If you get the wrong exam board, the chances are the exam, the sort of the subject that you're putting in may not even exist with the other exam board. So make sure you've got the right exam board. You need to make sure you've got the right year that you completed them, because otherwise that will cause you problems. And you need to input all of your grades. Okay, so it takes a little bit of time. You've got to remember all of them, and it's fiddly. Okay. Some people sometimes ask me, if I've got a grade that I really don't like, I'm really not happy with, do I have to put it? And well, the reality is it's kind of up to you. Obviously, if it's one of the core subjects, yes, you do. If it's something like, I don't know, GCSE Spanish, and you're really not happy with the grade you got, you've got to balance out whether showing that you did the GCSE Spanish is better than pretending you didn't. I think legally speaking, you're supposed to put all of your qualifications. Now, the reality is people aren't going to check up on that. So really, it is up to you. It might be better to put it down and have people know that you studied it, even if the grade isn't that great. Now, for your A levels, and this is also a part that people often miss off, you need to put Newast as your current school. Okay, so you do that via putting in the dates that you were there. So the dates the dates you started at Newast, and then the date that you end will be listed as July or June 2021. Okay, that will then automatically make Newast your current school. When you're searching for Newast on the form, type in Nottingham University, and then it will narrow it down enough that you'll see Newast to come up on the drop down box. So you need to input all of your BTECs and A levels. Okay, every one of them. Now they are on there. Okay, of I've put down BTECs and A levels as one of the preferred options, so they're there automatically ready for you to click on. The end date of your qualification should be June 2021. Okay, so your start date is easy, but your end date must be June 2021, and you need to put the result as pending. Okay, that then brings it up on your reference form for your teachers, i.e. me, to put your predicted grades in. Until you input your current A levels and put the result as pending, I can't do a prediction for you. If you are one of the students that is taking an early A level this year, as in one of the language ones, when you've got your results, you can put that down there, and you just put your end date as being this summer. So you can put that result in there, and that is going to make a difference to the offers you get. Many universities will probably offer you based on just 2 A levels rather than 1. The employment section is really easy. It's nothing complicated. Just whatever part-time jobs you've done, you can be put down. I'm not sure that universities spend a lot of time looking at this part of it. Some universities, if they're torn between certain candidates, quite like people who have independence and have worked. A lot aren't bothered. It's very unlikely to be a decisive factor. So, put your employment down, and you don't need to spend a lot of time. And then we come to the personal statement, which will be the focus of several sessions after half term. So we'll do about choices, and then we'll look at the personal statement in more detail. This is something to start thinking about and Unifrog is what you'll use to draft this, and Unifrog is fantastic for drafting it. It actually splits it into sections for you, but I will give you a lot more guidance on this. Every year I have the pleasure of reading 120 of these and making changes and correcting them with you there with me. So I've seen a lot of these. The basics of it, okay, and I don't want you to worry about it immediately. It will be a maximum of 4,000 characters with spaces. So when you're on Microsoft Word and you look at word count, there's another bit that says characters with spaces. It's that 4,000 characters. On the UCAS forms, it's also limited to 47 lines. To be fair, if you're within the 4,000 characters, you're normally within the 47 lines as well. Now, Unifrog mimics this. So Unifrog, if you type out your personal statement into Unifrog, it will tell you if you're over. It will tell you how far over you are. Now, it can be anything you want, and I recommend certain things that you need to talk about, and I'll give you a sort of a general formula for it. But some of the very best ones I've ever read have just been very free flowing and really reflect the personality of the person. So the basic themes to cover would be why you want to study that subject and where your interest in it comes from, why you think you'd be good at it, any relevant experiences that you've had, whether it be university or work experience or anything else. Some stuff about you. Universities like somebody who is a rounded person and who they think is going to join some of their societies and some of their clubs. So hobbies and sports and other things you do are quite important. And don't feel bad about anything you do. For instance, those of you who are gamers, that sort of thing can go down. In a lot of businesses, the skills you get from online gaming are very much in demand. So that is just an overview of some of the things that you will include on your personal statement. But like I said, I will do some guidance with you on this, where we'll split it into different sections. And get this done over the next half term.